How many lovers have you made today? Chapter 14. Want without reason. Twilight strolls down the hall with Spike by her side, a cheerful smile on her muzzle. Today is unprecedented. It's the day of the festival. She honestly can't even recall the last time she's been to one, and with all the developments that are happening in her life, she's confident that for today, she'll be able to unwind. There's also whatever task that Princess had in store for her as well. Will she ask her to watch over something, or perhaps organize some last-minute changes? She doesn't know, but she's thrilled nonetheless. Hey, Twilight? Twilight looks down at Spike. Do you think the festival will be packed?
Oh, that I know without a doubt, Spike. This festival is rare and brings creatures of all types to the capital. So I want you to be on your best behavior and try not to get lost.
Do you think a few dragons will show up? Spike asked with a curious glint to his eye.
I'm not too sure about that, but it's possible.
Twilight would hope at the very least it's a smaller dragon, as anything too large will be near impossible to accommodate. What about your friends? Will they come too? Twilight notices a heavyweight slam down on her. The girls. She's been so preoccupied with her problems that everything else had slipped from her mind. She recalls the letter Applejack sent was quite a while ago.
How's everyone doing over there? Have things gotten better since then? Have they heard from Rainbow Dash?
She hopes that Rainbow Dash is taking time to herself and isn't planning anything drastic. Twilight shakes her head of those thoughts. Today she's going to relax. All of that stuff will come with time. She's sure the girls are doing much better.
I don't know.
Twilight answers sincerely.
But I'm sure they're alright.
Yeah, I guess so. I just haven't seen many of them in a while. Spike twiddles his claws.
Still worried about Rarity?
He nods, and she stops to face him.
How about this? After the festival, we'll write a letter to Applejack. How's that sound?
Spike looks up at Twilight, relieved. Alright, that sounds great.
Now come on, let's not waste time. There's plenty to do today.
Twilight tries to get him excited.
But first, we need breakfast.
There is tension in the air. Ever since Anon sat at the dining room table, everything has been silent. The bath was mostly routine for him, as he had left as soon as the sisters showed up and decided to wait for everyone to gather here for breakfast. Every passing moment by himself began to develop his annoyance. However, even with the three princesses entering shortly after, didn't alleviate that sensation. No, he knew they were playing a part, acting as if a stray thought or two weren't about him. Luna being the most blatant, as she would thwart her gaze if their eyes met, and even chose to sit a chair length away from him. While that does bug him, what is genuinely grating at his psyche is how Celestia's passion has been significantly dialed down when compared to yesterday. He doesn't like this. Where in the past he would have most likely brushed it off, now he finds himself irritated. Celestia has spoken to Luna about this morning, that much he knows. But as for the reasons why he was opposed to her being there, that is only something he can express. With each passing moment in silence, his irritation starts to turn to anger. He doesn't want to be reserved with Celestia for the sake of others. His resentment and thoughts melt away for a moment as he's taken aback. Such a novel idea, but one that he genuinely believes. Before he can even question it, another springs up. He wants to be selfish. Anon is so lost in thought he doesn't notice Twilight entering the room with Spike by her side. She's smiling brightly, but promptly stopped once she saw Anon's annoyed expression. Though, as soon as she felt worry course through her veins, she could tell that he was lost in his thoughts, and not looking at anything in particular. So she walks over, greets everyone, and takes her seat. Once she's settled down, she can sense the weight of the situation before her. Something is going on right now, so she will try her best to keep to herself as she watches from afar. Oh, I'm hungry, Spike says. Twilight immediately summons a bowl of gems for him, to which he promptly starts shoveling into his mouth. Anon takes a moment to acknowledge Twilight as he looks at her for a moment before returning to his thoughts. He has to speak his mind. He doesn't want to lose what he has with Celestia, And as there is a festival coming up, the time to talk is now. I'm annoyed, Anon declares plainly. Celestia didn't want to say anything, but the aura Anon is putting out is ominous. She thought giving him some space would make him feel better, but since they're gathered at the table, it was progressively getting worse.
I'm all ears.
Celestia calls to him gingerly.
Whether that's here or somewhere private.
I want everyone to hear what I have to say. Anon casts his gaze to all at the table. I'd appreciate silence until I'm finished. His tone alone is enough to grasp everyone's attention, except for Spike, who was too busy eating to notice. I'm going to speak precisely what is on my mind. I have no idea if it'll make sense, but I want you all to be as understanding as possible. Anon takes a breath in to try and calm his nerves and gather his thoughts. I'm new to this, to being open and not completely repressing how I feel. I don't believe any of you truly get how painful it is for me to say I love Celestia. How displaying affection is a monumental task. Anon can feel his legs starting to fidget. What others would consider simple, I cannot even fathom the scope. To want something, even if it hurts others I care about. Anon pauses in a vain attempt to gather his now rapidly fraying thoughts. I can already tell Celestia is holding herself back when she normally would be doing something or other to express her joy of this relationship. I hate this. That anger is swiftly coming to a boil inside of him. What is he trying to say? He doesn't know, but right now the words coming out feel right. I hate that she's not hugging me so close I can hear how fast her heart races. I hate how she hasn't kissed me without a second thought of who's around. I hate how she's holding herself back from doing all the things that I want to do, but can't do as easily. Celestia is speechless. She knows he loves her. She knows how challenging this relationship is. But to hear him say it? It's almost too much for her to take. She wants to bring him to her barrel, but as she looks down to his white-knuckled fist, she knows that he's far from finished, but trying desperately to keep talking. I have no idea if she's doing this to give me space or for someone else at the table. Anon shifts his gaze to Luna, which she quickly reverts when she notices the anger and pain behind them. I'm so angry. Not at anyone here but myself. Time and time again, I reflect on the past. All of the wrong things I've done. How I was too much of a coward to say anything. All for the sake of others. To pretend as if everything is fine. Anon loosens his stance to try and calm down. I'm not going to make the same mistakes. I don't want to lose what I have. I don't want to fear the idea that Celestia is putting her feelings aside for others like I once did. Even if I'm more likely to go along for the ride than act on my own. Anon looks over to Luna, his features softer. I'm not mad. I don't hate you. We're still friends. I'm fine with us bathing together and sitting side by side at the dining table. However, I want to be alone with Celestia in bed. At least until I'm more comfortable with this stuff. Anon looks over to Celestia as her eyes glisten heavily. Did I make sense? Celestia can no longer contain herself as she lunges forward and brings Anon into a kiss. It's shocking for him, but as soon as their lips met, all of that anger faded away. His pain of the past and worries of the future became nothing more than a thought on the wind.
Thank you for sharing that with us.
Cadence speaks out once they stop kissing.
Sensing the love inside of you is one thing, but hearing it is far more compelling. You truly do love my aunts, and understandably, you wish for privacy. Isn't that right?
Cadence turns to Luna and Twilight.
Yes, I'm sorry if I've made you feel uncomfortable.
Luna says.
Everyone needs space, and I know you are a good friend. I will be more thoughtful while moving forward.
Twilight nervously smiles.
Well, if you need someone to talk to,
Her voice dies out as Anon looks her way with a raised brow.
Never mind.
Anon gets hit with fatigue. Being that emotional takes its toll on him. I'll pass on breakfast. He gets out of his seat and turns to Celestia. I'm going to rest for a moment. Wake me up when the festival is starting.
Very well. I love you.
There's that pain again. Something so simple to say, and yet it's a crushing weight on his shoulders. I love you too. With that, Anon leaves to rest. Man, relationships are complex, but they do feel nice. And sometimes shit shows happen, but you just make up and move on. So let's get on to our loving donators. Top donators: Jessie, Smith, Star 630, BadassWaffle, Only One Things, Ceru, Orion, and Caladis. Matchback, JockeTF, Luciisu, Darkside, Rayden, Narwhals, Black Minar, Pastel, Sky, Austin, Rollins, Sharper, The Mordred, Omicron, Library, Insight, The Will, Chris, Tinky, Rai, Soul, Shadow, Luigi, Chancellor Crest, Big Smoke, Bobcat, Murder Princess, Jet, Little Mighty, and many more awesome people. Thank you all so much for watching this video and live life to the fullest.